All right, guys, post-game show, the Celtics back to 500, toppling the Wizards, 116-87. Jimmy, it's hard to say anything bad here because this was pretty complete
This is gonna
game,
be
and
tough for
obviously
you.
no, but I mean that's not what we're looking for, Jimmy. You and I are captain positive from the bubble, okay?
For
You
sure.
know,
Absolutely.
we had naysayer
Listen, we
Bobby.
call it like it is. When they play
Yeah.
well, they play well. When they play poorly, they play poorly. We call it like it is.
Naysayer Bobby didn't like the Celtics back when we started this show, but
Bobby
you
doesn't
know,
want to do the show tonight because Tatum dropped 51. He's not going to
yeah,
show up.
no, he's bummed out.
He can't go to his agenda.
Right. But I mean, crap. It's like we were kind of joking last game. It's about as easy as, like the difference between them being a good team and a bad team, or at least an above 500 team or a team in about the sixth, spot right now is just Tatum playing at his average.
That's
You don't
it.
need 50-point Tatum. You need Tatum, who's even Tatum slightly below average of shooting splits. And we said this exact thing last game. Tatum shooting splits 45-36 right now. They'd be fine. He's 40-30 and he has too many ice cold games. And then he just came out and it was like a possessed human tonight. Totally different dude.
I don't get it.
So yeah, I don't get it. We've seen it. He's had a couple of these this year, just so few of them. So like, if it's
that's why it's so frustrating, though, right? Yeah. Because you know what he's capable of.
Oh, that's like, the guy.
Does anybody have more like aggressive swings than this guy? I mean,
well, this year they're all over the place.
Of dropping 50, but then like he will go stretches where he literally can't hit a shot and end up with low teens or less points wise and complete liability.
Jimmy, the people in your room are happy that the Rams just missed a field goal.
Yeah, there's a bit of a. I'm not gonna say it's a party. There's a gathering going on downstairs, and people are.
It's funny.
They should be.
I expected, Jimmy, that the chat would be like, "See Tatum, awesome," which would be fine. This is absolutely your beat your chest sort of game if you're a Tatum backer all the time. Right now, I'm seeing more people like it's a fluke. He'll have 10 points next game. It's the bike. It might be the bike.
Listen, is this a fluke? No, it's not a fluke. We know enough about Jason Tatum where when he drops 50, it's not a fluke. It's more of a fluke what we've seen this season. This season feels like, based on, it's hard to say an entire season's a fluke, but it is an outlier. It does feel a lot of these games this year are uncharacteristic of what we know Tatum's capable of. And that's why the frustration has set in this season. And that's why we said that without Tatum being Tatum, this is what you're looking at. Because look at the bench tonight. The bench you had two guys that contributed in any way, shape, or form tonight on the bench. So it just goes back to what we said. If Tatum's not giving you minimum, A- performance on a given night, like it's looking at a loss. And of course, tonight was an A+, not even close. And then they handily beat a very mediocre Wizards team that's, floating around the same area you guys are. But let's be honest, the Celtics should be better than the Wizards. They shouldn't be fighting for a play-in game, when it comes down to it. So it was good to see Tatum break out of that slump. And we knew it was a slump. I mean, nobody expects Tatum to shoot as poorly as he has shot lately. And if you watched last game, it was almost like he was holding onto the ball for an extra half second, just thinking about this has to go in, right?
There we
this
go.
Is the one. This is how open I am, and I'm going to shoot this.
Yeah, exactly right.
And just a brick.
So, like a free throw almost, like spin it.
Yeah, exactly. So, this was more in line with what we've, come to know from Tatum. So it was good to get him out of that little rut, and I hope that he can keep it going. Does this change anything in the long term or the short term? I mean, not really. I mean, I'm glad that they got the win, of course. I'm glad that Tatum got out of that slump. The problems that exist still exist. And, we're not going to be a downer show tonight when he drops 51. He probably could have had 65 if he
but look,
playing him. But
who in the world isn't, Jimmy, praying right now that this was the snaps him back into this mode type thing? Because this is, like I said, this is a different planet. This was the pre-bubble guy, where you're like, any night he can take over a game, score 40-something points, and almost nothing else matters if that happens, you know? And like, that's what you were seeing. And he was unguardable because it didn't matter if he's shooting the stuff. That's why, I mean, it's a frustrating aspect of his game to be reliant on low percentage shots. But those things, when they fall, when he's hitting shots in people's faces, that step back three, when it's going down consistently, you have to respect it, which opens up other aspects of his game. So that's what makes him unstoppable, is literally just hitting shots in people's eye. And, you know, and also
over people.
But beyond that, also, he's got to make every open shot, you know, because if you sag off him, your and they are moving the ball and it swings to him and he's open, he's got to drop those. His percentage on open and wide open threes is unfathomably low. So like, all the stuff you just expect from him. You know, we were joking about a tweet the other day where someone's saying, despite the shooting, Tatum's having a great year. We're like, yeah, despite me falling when I walk, I'm having a good time. I'm doing a good job walking.
Like my feet are working well.
Like, that's his ball game, man. That's what he does. He freaking, his rookie year, shoots 44% from three. I mean, he became a dead-eye shooter from, like, you know, from deep, from long twos and threes. He doesn't hit those. He doesn't have the same game. You want to see him go downhill, you know, when he can, when he's got matchups and when he's not shooting well, but he's got to have that shot fall. Tonight was insane, you know? Tonight was old school. And you see the swagger too. He's just setting people up, you know, and it was just like that, like nothing had ever, just like that, like the first 40-something games didn't happen. It was so bizarre.
But you know what, John? And that's exactly what we talk about with Tatum, is what we want to see. We want the first 47 games to not matter. But unfortunately, it feels like when he's playing, and we've talked about this off the show, it feels like recent history and even non-recent history, like that's in his head when he's playing. So it's like, you need to be like a cornerback. You know, you got to forget the last play and get out there and do your thing. And you have a short memory. You can't be, you know, harping on a foul that wasn't called or thinking about a shot that you missed that you should have missed. You just have to go out there and just be the killer that you are. And tonight or today was that exact Jayson Tatum that we know exists. And I go back to, that's why we're frustrated, because it feels like oftentimes with not just Tatum, but Brown too, or whoever's out there on the Celtics, they seem to like get hung up on things not going their way, even when the game might be going in the Celtics way. If personally it's not going in their way, it affects them, and that's, I think, a frustrating thing that for fans. I think a lot of fans are noticing that too with Tatum and those guys, is that a lot of times it feels like they're hung up on their own like performance over the team's performance. But tonight was different. You know, like it was all honky dory tonight. I mean, you're up 20 for the majority of the game. And this was a game that I'm very happy that they won by the amount that they did, because I didn't want to see a Wizards, you know, like come back in the fourth to bring it to like 10. And then like all of a sudden Tatum has to go back into the game. And, you know, it was good that they were able to close it out, because there hasn't been that many games this year where they've been able to.
Yeah, wasn't that nice? Like, there wasn't even the hint. There wasn't even a hint of a comeback.
There was not, like, you knew in the third quarter that the game was over, and you're just like, let's just run the clock. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't have that. You don't have that many games this season with the Celtics, so it was good. And I don't know what changes from 2 days ago till now that they can play and close as poorly as they did. But we have to at least mention the fact that Marcus Smart did play in this game, and he was a bit of a factor, I would say.
A plus 36. Someone's been baiting me in the chat trying to say who finished with the highest plus minus today. It was Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart with a plus 36.
Yeah.
So, fine. We'll say this. First time healthy lineup all year. This was, in a long time. This was a pretty good show. If you're going to quibble
absolutely.
if you're going to quibble about one thing, it's, I feel like last game, and everything that's preceded, tonight, at some point you want to see Ime say, I've got my full lineup. I was hoping day one of his full lineup, he would have not done double big, and he did, and it worked. So I'm not going to complain about it. But I was wondering if tonight would be the night where it would be like, I'm starting Marcus because he's back. I'm putting Dennis on the bench. I'm going to split the bigs, and I'm going to mix the kids in with
to more of
the
a
A lineups.
Yeah, right.
And he didn't.
This is your chance. Yeah.
He didn't. He started double big. First guy was Richardson and Grant off the bench. Kind of stayed with that short rotation. Played the starters all the way.
Those were the only guys. I mean, Richardson didn't even score, right?
Yeah.
And Grant and it was Grant and just Schroeder were the only guys who freaking scored, I think, in the game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Grant had 10, and then Schroeder had 7, and then Neesmith and Romeo had a bucket. Had a couple.
Well, that
points
was
late.
Way.
I'm not counting them. I'm not counting them. Yeah,
don't count those.
I'm saying
Neesmith didn't even. I mean, Neesmith didn't get a minute, and I don't think Romeo got a minute in this game. A real.
You had 22, 17, and 22. Grant, Pritchard. I mean Grant. Richardson, Schroeder, and it was the kids played only in garbage time, which was a bummer, which was a little bit of a bummer because again, you want to see if Ime is going to change up a little bit, and you had Romeo coming off his best game maybe of the season, and he got no run at all. Went to Richardson again. I was hoping to see more. It's hard to complain with the results, but like as we said, you're 1 on 1 off here, so. It worked tonight.
But what are you trying to do? If you're trying to win, then it makes perfect sense.
It does. Yeah, it's sort of. It does.
We don't know where they're at. That's the problem. We don't know where. Like when they play a game like they played 2 days ago, and you're like, they need to bench everybody, trade everybody, and play all the kids.
Yeah,
they play a game.
Romeo had like a minute stint early, and that was it. But and I was hoping, and then he got the garbage time.
He had like 4 minutes in the game.
4 minutes early, and then 4 minutes at the end. He had 8 total. It's a bit of a bummer. That's the only bummer I'll say, because I was hoping we would see some evolution. I felt like everything came to a boiling point against Ime last game, Jimmy, when it was like when he didn't have the wherewithal to change out that last lineup. We've seen him go double point guard, which is with Tatum handling the ball, which is horrible spacing. We've seen him have 2 bigs out there, which really kills your shooting. I thought it would be like that wake up call for Ime. Like, now that I've got all my guys, I'm going to do this, and he's still going to stick with it. So we'll see what happens next game.
I don't know if there's a wake up call for this guy. He might just be. Is he just like I mean, we're all learning about Ime. We don't know anything about the guy. Is he just like a stubborn coach and kind of stuck in his ways and like, this is how I feel, and like, I'm not going to switch unless like, I really truly firmly believe that what I
don't know
that isn't true. Like, we don't know. We don't know what his tendencies are. Really, we're all kind of learning about it. So if he's kind of a stuck in his ways type coach, then I mean, he's going to keep going in this lineup. I don't know why. I agree with you. I would have liked to have seen, again, something different. I say this a lot, like, do anything, just anything at all. Like, just see what happens, see what works, because I honestly don't think it could have gone much worse than it has to this point in the season. But again, like, Jason Tatum's a bit of a cheat code, and you can get away with double big when he's 9 of 13 or whatever it is from 3, and like playing like a top 5 player in the NBA. You can get away with those things. Now, if Tatum
can do a ton,
if Tatum shoots like he did, the last week or so, then they it's a much closer game, and he would have been forced to make some adjustments a lot earlier. But it is what it is, and we're not gonna.
All right, let's bring in the
anybody else joining the show today, or what?
Bring in the Flopsy Bopsy twins here.
Geez. Hey, congrats! Hey, look who decided to show up.
Bobby,
what's going on, fellas?
That scoreboard's going off behind you. We've got representation in DC because CLNS travels freaking large is what we do, and these guys are out there.
Oh,
all right, Jimmy.
What can I do?
Jimmy.
Guys,
can you just do a stream?
We're gonna have to put up with this right now. We're gonna have to put up with this. If the Bucks win this game, I can guarantee you that I'm gonna get swarmed.
Friggin' Brady bomb to Mike Evans. Okay, for those out there, the Bucks are within 1 score now, my friends. With 3-something minutes. 3-something minutes to go. It's gonna be 27-20 here.
Yeah.
Right,
this is
setting up.
I'll tell you what, the Rams have made numerous mistakes in this game, and you do not want to give Tom Brady 1 chance, never mind multiple chances. Wow, that was a bomb. 60 yards.
Yep.
60-yard touchdown right there.
That's some bad defense. Single coverage, nobody over the top.
Oh my God, that is pretty.
Hey,
that is pretty.
Mike Evans is a bad man. I think Mike Evans is the top
the Bucks
5
fourth quarter
fish
podcast? What are we doing here?
You know what? We ran out of stuff to say. Jason Tatum was good. Marcus
what do you
Smart
got?
returned.
What do you guys got?
You know,
why don't you guys hit us with it? You were there,
John. With the everything looked good today, so I got nothing else to say, John. Huh? All right.
No, we did the show already. Now we're gonna let you guys do it.
But when they lose, you want to go 90 minutes.
No, trust me. Trust me.
It's a quick one. Hey guys, wrap it up. What do you got?
Wrap it up. Final thoughts, Josue. No, that's not the point. The point is we can only say Jason Tatum was awesome so much without looking ahead. Like, does he flip a switch or is it just a one-off game? He's going to go 2 for 17 next game. It's a bad shooting season, and all of a sudden he looked like a different human being out there. So you guys are there. You've got a firsthand look. Was there a bike on scene? Because some people in the chat are saying there was no bike option.
I didn't see a bike.
Right.
That's funny. I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Okay, because I am told there was no bike.
If there's no bike and he drops 51, then I don't want to ever see a bike again.
Okay, I am told I
didn't even see one out here.
Sources in DC tell me it was a bike-free zone. Is that right, Bobby?
Facts. Bobby?
Facts.
Yeah. No bike in sight.
There it is.
There you go.
Confirmed.
This is why you sent us down here.
We have eyes. We have 4 different eyes confirming.
Bobby, we're gonna go city to city and just see which place has bikes. That's it.
We'll go down there. I'll get a closer look in a second. But
no bike.
Bobby, we can see from here. There's no bike.
Stuff him.
There might be one in the hallway that we can't see. He's gonna get a good. He missed it all game. He's gonna get a good ride after.
What do we got? What do you guys see down there?
You know, I thought one of the more interesting things that Ime said post game was this is the exact same, like these are the exact same looks that Tatum was getting, you know, and I thought he's right. You know, I just thought
no timeouts.
Maybe it was a mental thing, maybe it was him just trying to you know, the critics getting so into his head that he can't. Man, someone's watching the game because they're going nuts over there. But whatever it was, I don't think any of us were thinking like, oh well, this is going to be the new Jason Tatum. You know, at the end of the day, I think it was just like, well, I think that's the least of our concern, but add it to the list of worries. You know, add it to the list of worries. Oh man, I think Brady's run just ended on. Did it just end on us right here?
No. Brady's getting the ball back in scoring territory after a fumble.
Oh my God! Sorry, Josue.
No, that's crazy. I don't blame you. Oh man, Jimmy's itching to go celebrate.
Nah, man, we can walk and chew gum here. We can do it.
We're good.
So yeah, I mean, to what
oh
you
my
had to say,
God,
I'm like, all right, well, so what happens next? You know, one thing I did notice though, the passing was everyone. It was a team effort. You know, it was everyone. So I thought that helped Tatum in a sense because obviously when the shots were falling, Washington clamped down. You know, guarding the 3-point arc, but then that's when he started going inside. You know, I just thought the healthy balance of the way Tatum was scoring, which is it just reminds you of how great of a scorer he is. You know, he's one of the top scorers in the NBA, but we can't put him in the top 10, right? I mean, that's just sort of the story of Jason Tatum right now.
Yeah. So we appreciate all of you guys double screening it here through the Brady fourth quarter here. We're doing the same thing. Jimmy's hosting a party. So there's literally we can do. If you're on a little bit of delay, Jimmy's crowd is going to spoil it for you. Okay.
No, actually I'm actually
going nuts right
seconds ahead of them downstairs. I just found out.
Yeah.
Sweet's a good way to do it.
But I'm on YouTube TV, so I think live is ahead of me. So people watching with like Comcast or wherever your cable providers, you're going to be ahead of me. I'm on YouTube TV. No free ads.
Many people are
no free ads.
Haven't left their suite. That's funny. No one is. Most suites are still occupied right now.
This was a 27-3 game. Okay, not 28-3, but close.
Did you guys sense a little swagger out there with Tatum today, or what was the difference? Like why are we seeing these unbelievable massive swings with Tatum right now? Like what was the biggest difference tonight?
I think Smart's return had a lot to do with it. He's a guy that can get you quality looks in that spot. and get downhill and drive and kick and just organize the offense, especially on the break. They were able to get the pace going up a little bit in this one, which was huge for him. Got some easy looks at the basket in those spots. So they just had him taking wide open rhythm looks over and over again.
I'm not going to lie. He's been taking and missing those, Bobby. I mean, it's not Marcus Smart has played all year. He's just missed a few games.
A couple weeks,
I'm saying he's played most of the games this year, and he's played with Tatum, and Tatum still missed them. So I'm not that quick to say the return of one person all of a sudden made Tatum's shots go in. I mean, as Ime said in the postgame, it's the same looks he gets all the time.
Yeah, there was a stretch.
I'm not saying it's great to have. Are you kidding? You need everybody on this team. The team's not good enough to miss one or two guys, especially guys who are vital. Smart, whether you love him, hate him, think he's a great point guard or not, is clearly a player they absolutely need to be successful. They don't have enough juice. You saw what happened in a point guardless lineup to close last game is a freaking disaster. Yeah. So yes, having somebody to organize things is good. But I mean, I still am not crediting Marcus Smart's return with Jason Tatum all of a sudden going insane and dropping a 50 burger.
Might be a coincidence, but there's just a greater passing sense along the perimeter when that player is in that I can see. I mean, all their offensive numbers bump up quite a bit when he's in there. Again, we can talk about whether that's just value over replacement or anything else that's in place.
Yeah, I mean, fine. It was like I said.
But the Wizards were a good team to get it going against. They had no one to put in front of them. Yeah. Absolutely no one.
Yeah, it was, but it doesn't matter. He still hit the contested ones tonight, and he hit the open ones. He's been missing those too. That's the whole thing is like, I agree with Ime in this regard. They're the same caliber looks he's gotten, but he was taking even more, actually, because he was feeling it. He was taking more contested looks tonight, because he's like, I got it going. And then that stuff was falling. And he had one of those grooves where you're like, here he goes. No one's going to stop him now. And he just hasn't had that in a while.
Right. Most efficient, high-volume three-point shooting game by a Celtic since Antoine Walker.
That was awesome.
14.
Since who?
Antoine Walker had his own.
Right, Bobby. You don't know. You don't know anything about Antoine Walker. Is the original like.
I wish I got to experience that.
If you're like my age, like mid-30s, like Antoine Walker, like got you hooked onto the Celtics. Paul Pierce like continued it for the last like 15 years after that, but he got you hooked. Antoine Walker was the man. So anytime
he was an all-star too.
Twan. Josue's a big Twan guy. I know that.
Twan was terrible, but he was great because he loved being here.
Terrible.
He wasn't terrible. He was a low efficiency guy, but he loved it here. He had energy, he had vibe, and after that decade, you needed some juice, and he kind of helped. He brought it back.
First power forward handles. All right, well, the first one that really had handles. I mean, Chris Webber had it a bit, but the way he had handles, man, he could go through anybody.
Yeah. I got nothing. I got nothing but good things to say about Twan, even though he was
totally, dude. I mean, he was
an imperfect
player. He made
it
fun to watch. He was the first really fun guy to watch in the new TD Garden, right?
Yeah, but Jimmy, you know, John's not a Twan guy. Like that's not the guy. The guy just
he's not
breathe.
I liked him because I liked him.
If we were covering that team, you would be complaining about him every game, John.
Oh my god!
But I liked him because I liked his swagger. I liked the energy. I loved Twan. I loved that. Like it just brought life back.
By the way,
the John of the John of today wouldn't have liked Twan, but the John of 20 years ago would have loved
the post game, John. Sean Grandy actually sent me his list. I love his list of TD Garden's all-time scorers. Twan's still second in TD Garden history. Jason Tatum up to fourth, just past Rajon Rondo last week in TD Garden history scoring. Jaylen Brown is sixth, just a little bit behind Rondo. So those two are going to end up becoming the all-time Garden scorers. They'll be ahead of Antoine probably in a year or two. But
nice little subtle name drop, Bobby. I like that.
It was a good one. Yeah.
So what else did we like today? Tatum, look, I mean, we joked about it last game. Like the difference between, and we joke about people being like, oh, if the shots fell, they'd be good. Like, duh. But like with Tatum, that's the case. It's like, if the shots just fell, almost everything else would just go away. If he shot anywhere near his career averages, the Celtics probably had 5 more wins this year, and he's having a pretty decent year. He's just shot so far below them that it's noticeable. Even if he was, like we said, 45 and 35 and 36 this year, it wouldn't be a problem. He's just been so inefficient, so it literally solves everything. But like, is it repeatable? Like,
is what repeatable?
Are you guys confident? Like, okay, great. He needed one of these. He snapped out of it. Good Tatum rest of the way. Because if that's the case, the entire story of the team is different. It's that serious. It's that easy. If you get Jason Tatum playing at the highest level that we've seen him, everything changes.
You're going to face some awful defenses in the week ahead here, and you're going to get some rest, which is key too. They only play once this week before Friday when they head down to Atlanta. And you got the Kings in the meantime on Tuesday, who are just one of the worst defenses in the league over the last couple of years here. So you get more finesse defenders in front of you and guys that you can just blow by, create some separation with in the mid-range area. And most importantly, I think this has been underrated with the schedule that Tatum's gone into the slump against. You don't have these big rim protectors like Embiid, some of the other guys that they ran into like Valanciunas, who held him out of the paint, guys who dropped back, who made it difficult on him. Even Mason Plumlee, who isn't a great rim protector, is a guy with a ton of size in there who's going to fill that lane. And of course, Portland packed the paint against him and took the ball out of his hands. So this was a game where you could beat guys one-on-one. You didn't see a lot of traps. You didn't see a lot of doubles. When teams defend them like that, or you face teams that don't have good defenses like Washington, it's going to be much easier for them to operate.
So I want to ask a question to Josue and Bobby. This is going to shock a lot of people. I know you guys watched the game a lot more closely than I did today. So was there some, out of Tatum's 51 points, was there something that because Marcus Smart was in the game, was there something that allowed him to score other than the fact, he went 9 of 14 from 3. Was a lot of that just him alone, or like, is there something that kind of gave you a look into what he needs to happen to unlock that scoring? Like, is there a upgrade somewhere positional wise, like that the Celtics can do? Because there are two people are in one of two camps right now. One, it's basically trade everybody and start over, or continue to try to build around Tatum and Brown. So like, is there something that happened in this game that would make you think like, okay, yeah, like that worked and they need more of this type of a player?
Not really, just because Jason Tatum did a good job of establishing his outside shot early and often. So I feel like a lot of the shot, the attempts, the looks, it got easier for him because there were so many. I'm so distracted right now because there were so many threes that they had to worry about that it opened up the floor a bit. But at the same time, you got to give credit to the Celtics, his teammates as well, because I thought everyone did a good job of just constantly moving the ball, passing the ball around, making sure that they didn't get stagnant. And guys like Schroeder didn't hog the ball like he usually does, or whenever they get into certain droughts or whatever, they start to chuck shots. Tatum had to fight for those shots, and once he got into his groove, he couldn't stop. Wow, did they score? Wow.
Yeah.
Let's go!
Fournette ran it in.
Oh my God!
That room is so New England right now.
I'm on a 10-second delay. I have to be quiet.
I just saw it. I'm that far behind.
We're all in that delay. We got it here too.
OMG. Nobody should ever. You just can't doubt TB12.
It was 27 to freaking 3.
We've seen this. We've seen this before, John. We've seen this. We've been there. We've seen this before.
You were in it. Wait, were you in Atlanta?
Imagine he misses the extra point though.
Jimmy, were you in Atlanta?
I wasn't in Atlanta. I was in Phoenix.
I remember Phoenix. Yeah, you were gone before.
I wasn't in Atlanta, but I was glued to the set.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Someone said Josue's about to go to HR after this.
Oh my God! I can't.
Very unprofessional.
Game.
Both of you.
I'm gonna die happy, man. I could die tomorrow if the Bucks win this game. If Brady pulls us out, I can die tomorrow and I'll die happy, man.
That's how it is. You get You get two teams
and then
now.
the people in the chat like, Jimmy, you're a
fan.
front runner. Listen, I'm not a front runner. I'm not going to sit and be like, oh, I've been a Bucks fan. I'm a Bucks. No, I'm a Brady fan. If you've been watching this show, you know my stance on Brady. The Pats should have never gotten rid of him. It was the dumbest thing Belichick's ever done in his career, and it will go down as one of the dumbest decisions in football history. Regardless of how successful Belichick has been. Like,
here's my thing.
To me, it's one of the dumbest things you could ever do. I think a little pride got
But Jimmy,
in the way.
you got to say,
because Brady's clearly good enough to bring any team to the Super Bowl, especially the Patriots. And you know what? I hate to say it, the Patriots, yeah, they made the playoffs this year, but they're a long way away from anywhere near where they used to be. So I hate to say it.
You got to pick one or the other at this point.
I'm loyal to the player. I'm loyal to the player. I think it's a shame how it ended in New England, especially watching like Ben Roethlisberger.
I just think it's so wacky
in Pittsburgh.
Sorry, I got Sherrod here too. Sherrod, we're watching a football game here, buddy. I didn't know you were there.
I'm watching the same football game. There
we got 3 people in DC right now.
But
and we're sitting here doing play-by-play on the Patriots game.
But the difference between Sherrod and the rest of you guys is he's not doing a post-game show. Focus, guys.
We should have went to Tampa instead.
We got 3 people in DC to watch the Bucks game. We got 3 people in DC watching football.
Literally.
This is not a good use of resources. Don't tell Nick.
Yeah.
Tell Nick.
I'm like totally.
John, we don't have anybody in Tampa. How do we not have anybody in Tampa?
I'm like totally send them. You know.
How is Lazar not in Tampa right now?
DC big game.
Because CLNS covers the Patriots, Jimmy.
Hey.
Yeah.
John, Lazar better be on the next flight to wherever the Bucks are.
LA? Oh no, it would be.
It's gonna be in Tampa. If they win this game, he's gonna be on the next flight to Tampa.
It's gonna be. Wait, hold on. Let's hold. They haven't even won yet.
Knock on wood. I said if they pull this off. I mean, overtime's not gonna be easy.
All right, Sherrod. I'll ask what we got asked.
But I'll take
what was the difference for Tatum tonight?
Yeah, Sherrod, what's the difference with Tatum?
It's literally as simple as shots going down.
That's it. Nothing different, right? Same game.
The only thing I would say was a little bit tweaked was I thought he was looking to get to the rim earlier than he normally does. Usually it comes kind of part of the early flow of his game, but it's it from the very outset. He was trying to get to the rim and got some shots to go down, and that just seemed to open everything up for him from that point on. Something just happened in the game.
That's not me. That's not me. You guys heard that wasn't not coming from me.
Did they fumble again?
Because I'm hearing a lot of people behind me.
They just had They had a big completion. They just had a big completion. Oh.
So Jimmy, you've been pretty excited about this game, I guess.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Are they in field goal range?
I can't tell.
Yes.
No, not yet. Not yet.
They are in big. You guys are.
Jimmy, you gonna be okay, Jimmy? You gonna be okay?
Yeah, the deflation.
They gotta spike it.
You gonna be okay, Jimmy?
No.
Maybe just cut Jimmy off.
No, Jimmy's trying to.
Just mute his mic, turn his camera off.
Jimmy left.
Come on, man. What did you guys do for the Super Bowl? What was it, Super Bowl 51? You guys got this excited? You gotta hold it. You gotta wait till it's official.
It's official. Rams got that dub.
Just ask the Falcons fans. You know, you can't get too excited early, man.
Wow.
Blakely, Blakely. Oh, you're liking this. Okay. He wants to see Brady go down.
Oh my God, they let Cooper Kupp right down the friggin' seam.
After that first play too, they weren't quite in field goal range, and now
that is rough, man. How did you let that happen?
There go the Rams.
Here go the Rams.
Brady's still a go. Brady's still a go, Jimmy. It's all right.
Oh, that's a brutal loss.
He really left. Wow.
That is.
There goes the.
All right. So everybody, stop watching football. Let's put a bow on it. But let's talk about a couple of things. I hate to reduce it to that, Sherrod, but that's what it looks like to me. There wasn't a huge difference today. The shots went down. Obviously, as you said, he did. There's no interior presence here, but there weren't the last 2 games either.
Exactly.
And actually, last game he had a good game getting downhill too. Just the threes weren't falling, and the outside shots weren't falling. But he actually had a good game last game in the paint. 2 games ago, they did not attack at all. With Plumlee, and that was that was terrible. But the shots fell. That's it, right? I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Because I mean, again, I just looking at this game and just seeing the way he played, there really wasn't anything all that different than how he's played, except that shots fell. Like I said, the only thing that really seemed maybe a little bit more of an emphasis was placed on him, not just getting downhill early, but getting downhill often. And he did that. And that opened up things for the three-point shot. And it opened up things for the rest of the team, for that matter. I mean, you look, even though he had a great game, Grant knocked down shots. Schroeder knocked down shots. Al had some shots from the perimeter. It really seemed to be kind of a contagious type of thing.
Even Marcus.
Even Smart had a shot. I saw him passing actually after the game in the hallway, and he was obviously pleased with the win. Same thing with Rob Williams, who had this loud ass scream, woo after the win. A lot of excitement. This was a big win for them, though. They needed this type of win, just from a simple confidence standpoint. This is one of the teams that, as they try to climb their way back up the standings, assuming that's the goal, they're going to have to get past this Washington team. And so for them, this was a good win for them.
You know what else too, Sherrod?
I think Washington's
felt
toast,
like,
but yeah, go ahead, Joe.
Just real quick,
I totally think they suck.
Yeah. I just want to say this real quick. I feel like his teammates were just genuinely excited for him. Like I think that. That speaks volumes in a way, right? Like, I mean, people can say what they want about this team and the dysfunction in the sense of, not seeing consistency out there. But when you see everyone on their feet rooting for him to get his 50, and then when he finally checked out and everyone, dapping him up, I think Marcus Smart was like standing on top of his bench, and he like jumped up, gave him like a high five, literally, and they're joking around and all hugging him. And, that's the sort of, atmosphere a superstar or a top scorer like Jason Tatum needs, and I think that that it was genuine. It wasn't something that was forced.
Which is great, and again, part of it is because no bike, so he chilled with them on the bench, and so they gave him some love back. But the thing with Tatum, again, we can't
John,
talk about. Yeah.
There was a bike nearby.
Oh,
there was.
Wow, the other angle.
Wait, we finally got the scoop. What happened?
There was a bike nearby, and he walked towards the bike, and then he turned around and went back to the bench.
Bobby, they're not going to send us. Send us over here no more, man. We met the report.
So I was shocked because I'm like.
This is why Sherrod's a veteran.
Yep.
It was a conscious decision. I don't know whether the bike was too small or whether something was wrong with it, but he just went by it, stopped for a minute, turned around and went back.
You could see he sat there. If there was the thought bubble, he looked at it. And
it's a superstitious thing.
He's like,
what?
Maybe I won't do the bike today. Maybe I'll hang out with my teammates. And then he goes there and
I'm knocking every shot down.
And everybody's like, yes, Jason. And they embraced him, and it was all right. So look, let's put it aside. Awesome. We know when Tatum is good and the Celtics win, Tatum is happy. Everyone is happy. But what we've struggled with is when Tatum's not playing great and when the shots aren't falling and when he's not getting love from the refs, win or lose, he's really bummed out and dejected. So, like, positive vibes, happy Jason Tatum, everybody loves each other.
Just like Jimmy.
Keep it going, right? Keep it going. You want to see it repeated. You're not going to see 50 again, but
there's a demeanor thing with him, John.
Demeanor, any sort of positivity is good. They need it. They got to start feeling good about stuff.
And you can almost assume the bike thing is part of the frustration, the desire to just be in kind of his own space through these struggles, because it's really been year-long struggles for him, peaking on this last streak here where he missed 20 straight. Probably more of a feel-good situation, and for him and everybody. Didn't we talk about all those years with Kyrie? On the good days for Kyrie, everything would be great in the room, and on the bad days, the whole room would kind of be. That's
how it was. And Sherrod covered that team, and we were there every single day. Checking out that team, and it was you could tell. I've never seen a locker room like that. People would come in and sit and not talk to each other, and then they would get dressed and they would leave. There was zero crosstalk, camaraderie. Nobody would walk into the locker room and be like, "Yo, Marcus!" Nothing. People came in, got dressed, walked out. That was it.
Right.
Everybody was on eggshells in that locker room.
And it was so different than we'd been around previous years, where it was complete 180 of that, where it was almost sometimes maybe too much of a shit show in the locker room. But
right. Clown time. This was nothing. It was like a library. It was so weird. such a weird vibe, you know? And you don't have a lot here either, but we're not in the locker room as much too, so you don't know what's going on really last couple of years with these guys because the access has changed a good bit. But yes, good vibes are good. You want to see the bench getting into stuff, you know, falling over themselves when shots are going down, you know.
Grant waving his arms.
That stuff's great, man. Like that's you see that stuff is like, how many teams or how many like college programs like are people attracted to simply because of like the vibes, you know, like good vibes. I'll take all of that, you know. If they were vibing off Tatum tonight, great.
Grant did have the arms flying high after Tatum's first 3-point make tonight, so that was pretty consistent throughout. And then even after he got to 48, going into the timeout in the third quarter, Tatum, that is, screaming at the crowd, walking back, getting the whole row of Celtics greeting him. It was a lot of good visuals there.
Let's take a minute here and check
he let it all out.
We're a little concerned. Let's check in on Jimmy real quick. Jimmy, are you all right, buddy?
I'm literally just watching like that last play.
But why, Jimmy? Like, don't do it to yourself.
Did the Bucks like bring the house? Like they all they needed to do was just prevent the Bucks, prevent the Rams from doing that one thing that they did. Like, just drop everybody back and prevent that one thing. And they like.
That's what happens. We ain't got Belichick, man.
I'm watching like Brady walk off the field, and people are like, "Oh, is this like the last time?" I don't think it's the last time for the record. We do this every year.
No, he's not doing it
every year. We say, "Oh, this is gonna be Brady's last year," and it's not his last year. I don't think it's his last year, so I'm not worried about that.
Arians last year, I think.
I'm disappointed. It should be Arians last year. I'm disappointed in how this game ended after that unbelievable comeback. The Rams, they almost blew this game completely. I mean, the Bucks shouldn't have had even come close to tying this game up. They did a lot of things wrong. The Rams did. The Bucks, at the end of the day, the Bucks had so many injuries on offense, whether it's their wide receivers, their offensive linemen. It's an amazing accomplishment that they even tied this game up the way they did. I don't take back anything I said. I think the Pats were completely wrong for letting Brady go. I think that if they had Brady, they would have been a Super Bowl contender this year, not a fake, front runner team that had no business being in the playoffs. So we'll see what happens. I'm disappointed. Right. You guys saw my heart rate live.
There's your Bucks takeaway.
You guys saw when I saw Cooper Kupp catch that, you saw me react.
Can we talk Wizards for 1 second?
Bobby just plowing right through it.
Yeah, Jimmy hasn't been this sad since he had to stay in the hospital with his wife and spend time with his newborn. This is the last time he's been this upset.
No, Bobby. You just
I just want to go to work.
I just want to go. I just want to do a post-game show. You take care of the freaking kid.
It's already over. What's the problem?
You had the kid.
Yeah. Are we good here?
I've done my part.
Here's something I'm interested in on the Wizards side.
Yes,
today.
I need calm.com. Everybody in the comments. Yes, I do need calm.com, and I will be firing.
Go ahead. Bobby wants to talk about something. Bobby wants to talk about something relevant.
Bobby's like, I traveled a long way to talk about this game.
Jimmy brought this up earlier, and this is actually going to be my response to it. He asked Josue what the Celtics are missing, things we saw here tonight that work, that they need more of. And I look at the paint touches, a few good ones for Horford in the second half, some early lobs for Rob. There's a guy on the Wizards who barely played tonight that I was kind of stunned, and his minutes have been going down, in Montrezl Harrell. He was just out here behind us for about a half hour working and doesn't feel like he's in the Wizards rotation anymore. He's obviously on an expiring contract, guy that can score a ton in the post and is just...
You hated him 2 years ago, Bobby.
Well, let's just talk about the two things he does well.
Good memory, John.
That's in the past, John.
Well, no, there's three things I'm looking at here. He scores well in the post. He's nonstop energy, just through the roof, as Josue knows. And three, he's on an expiring $7 million deal. I believe it's $7 million.
He also has phenomenal numbers this year and really good, like advanced, analytic numbers.
And he gives you post touches. You can throw it to this guy in the paint, and he's going to score. So what does it cost?
He ate up Rob one time this year too. I mean, he was.
And put him in practice against Rob. Huge asset. So what does it cost you? 2 second-round picks, Sherrod? I mean, this cannot be a guy who's going to cost you all that much. And he's not playing for the Wizards anymore.
So and then we could go triple big? If you do that, you
have to send one to the
you got to get rid of. You got to find a way to get rid of Al at that point because otherwise he's going to be useless here.
Yeah.
Well, send Ennis to Washington. He can get closer to the political activism he wants to start working with here in the nation's capital, and
I like the idea, Bobby, but you do have right now. It's not the greatest area of need, but again, you take any talent you can get it if the price is right. So yeah, sure. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with the talent. I just have an issue with the upside to it. I mean, you get a guy who can. I mean, here's the thing: is this going to help you from a financial standpoint? Is this going to help you from an overall talent standpoint? Is this a guy that you could re-sign? And if you've got serious concerns about any or all of those things, I don't see the logic in doing this. If we were talking about a playmaking point guard, if we were talking about a spot-on shooter, yeah, I think because to me that's someone that would have a clear need or have a clear role on this team. But you're talking about a high energy rebounder who can score around the basket.
They don't get a lot of shots around the basket.
You kind of have a guy like that in Rob Williams.
That's true.
And I'm just not sure if you pair him with Rob or you pair him with Grant or Al, because one of those guys is going to have to be on the floor with him when he's on the floor. I'm not sure that's going to help you. I like the talent. I just don't think the talent is necessarily going to help you.
There's some intangibles with him too, though, isn't there, Josue?
Yeah.
I mean, I know
he's got an edge about him. He's a nasty dude.
Yeah,
he's an absolute ass kicker, and I like that. But go ahead, Josue.
Oh no, I thought that you were gonna keep going. No, I was just gonna say, yeah. In theory, a guy in that locker room and can give you that heart and soul. Yeah, I like it in theory, but it's tough to sort of see the route where the Celtics can make this happen. Over the past 2 seasons, I always thought that would be ideal, like player for the Celtics team. But this was before the emergence of Rob, so I guess that sort of complicates things, along with Al Horford and his contract and all that. But I mean, in terms of can the Celtics get him? I think they could, but you could end up with a logjam at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, for an expiring guy, it might cost you nothing.
No, Bobby, the mic thing happened again.
Yeah, for an expiring guy,
now you're good.
For an expiring guy, it might cost you absolutely nothing. That's all my point is there. Take a flyer on a guy like that. You're looking for a center, aren't you? Isn't that the report that The Athletic put out there as part of Jared's article about their possible interest here? I think of a guy like Nurkic, too expensive, probably can't keep him. I think of a guy like, who else is out there among centers right now? It's really not a big market. So if you're looking for a second big, it's not like he's playing a ton in Washington right now anyway. I don't think he can walk into Boston expecting a huge role. But if you got to go with a change of pace inside, he's certainly a guy that can come in and mash second units. And that's where he gets those big analytics, John, is he comes out there and just absolutely destroys guys in the role Ennis is in right now.
I'm not sure why he didn't play more tonight, though. Tonight was a little odd because, I mean, he's played in the low to mid-20s pretty much every game this season, except for tonight and maybe 1 or 2 games, outside of that. So I'm not really sure what's going on or whether this was like, kind of an anomaly of sorts or whether or what's going on. But he's a good player. I mean, there's no doubt about it. He's a good player, especially when you have him in the role of a reserve, coming off your bench, giving you a little something different, giving you an edge. That's the thing I like most about him. Not so much his scoring and rebounding, which is good, but the fact that he plays with a steady dose of "I'm gonna kick your ass when I'm on the floor" mindset. I love that.
Right. You would love to have that muscle up front.
Who's this?
Am I not here?
Yeah, I was gonna say, where did John go?
I don't know. I think my camera just.
You've never looked better, John. Who are we talking about?
My camera just glitched out.
Trez.
Oh yeah, Trez Harrell. Yeah.
Jimmy, what are you even doing here?
I don't know. What am I doing on this planet?
What is the point of you? What is the point of you?
What is my point anymore?
Homeschool, of course. Homeschool.
Sunday scares are coming in hard right now. Very, very hard right now.
The chat is trying to remind.
.com like I need air to breathe.
The chat is reminding Jimmy what we're talking about.
Yeah, we're talking about Harrell and how he is no longer being played on the Wizards, but he will all of a sudden become available and be like a focal point of the Celtics. Is that correct?
That's about it.
Yeah. It's not gonna happen. But it was a good talking point.
See, this sounds mean, Lex.
Yeah. Jimmy's in his feelings right now.
Lex, I'm going through a tough time right now. I don't need that on top of everything.
Hey, Lex.
I was like, Sherrod, look what he's saying right now.
I'm gonna just let Lex be. We'll let him be.
Lex is a Brady fan. He's confused.
All right, Sherrod, you're the Marcus of 2 things. All right. 2 things I want to talk about: who played, who didn't play. Marcus is back. Did the Marcus effect change a lot? We saw them play well last game for stints, but we saw how bad things went that final stretch in a point guard less lineup, which I don't think Ime should ever do again. But just talk about Marcus' return tonight.
Well, I think he was a stabilizer. I mean, it was pretty clear that they needed someone who could just do some semblance of roster organization out there. I thought he did a lot, even though his assist numbers weren't, off the charts. I thought he made a lot of really good hockey assist type plays where he got the ball to Al, who got the ball to Jason, or he got the ball to Jalen, who got the ball to Jason. He did a good job, I thought, of really kind of commanding the action out there. But again, he also had 4 turnovers, which you can't ignore, which is a little bit high. But he gets a little bit of slack just because this is his first game. He's missed the last 6. But with Marcus, here's the thing about Marcus, and I think a lot of people, they crap on him because he doesn't fit what their ideal image of a point guard is. Marcus has missed 9 games with this team this year. They're 3-6. I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence that they have not been at their best when he hasn't been on the floor.
Yeah,
so,
but Tatum and Brown.
I've talked a lot about the on-off numbers too. They're sensational for him.
I understand, right. But Rob missed 2 of those games, of those losses, and Tatum and Brown missed a couple too. So again, they are a little cherry picked there because we're looking at he was out along with other players, and one game had no Schroeder, so Pritchard started. So again, it's not all Marcus, but sure, that's a fair thing to point out. The drop from Marcus to whatever else you have, and then what happens behind that is significant. So even if Dennis is playing well in his stead, it makes sense. If Dennis is playing well in his stead, then you don't really have anything behind that. So you have to go with a lineup.
He and Dennis are very different players.
But you have to go with a lineup with no point guard, or you have to go heavy Peyton Pritchard minutes. So again, no matter what, 20 minutes or so are going to be spent in that game with no point guard or Pritchard, which has been inconsistent this year. And they don't have enough depth there to be without Marcus. They don't.
And that's where Tatum has to become more of a playmaker in those moments. And again, a night like this, I thought he had really one of his best all-around games. In addition to the scoring, obviously,
he's made some great passes, two lobs to Rob. Yeah.
And he only turned the ball over once, which to me, to have the ball in his hands as much as he did, and you only have 1 turnover, this was one of his better games in terms of just really giving the game all that it needed.
Ball was moving fast out of his hands too. That was the thing. It's like there was
decisive,
very quick to swing, very decisive. It's a huge difference between driving, running out of room, looking around, and passing to someone. It was the ball was moving, which made a huge difference. There was one sequence late in the, maybe in the 3rd or the 4th quarter where actually there was a miss. Ball goes to Robbie, rockets it to the corner to Schroeder, who passes it out. It ended up in a miss, but you could see the purpose with the ball was moving a little bit. So Tatum helped set a tone there because he made some really nice plays early with his passing. And his passing's just been erratic. It's not that he's not capable of making plays, but he's been as capable as making plays as throwing the ball to Josh Richardson standing, on the sideline. So it's just there's been just so many misfires along the way. Everything was crisp and clean tonight. It was just locked in.
Right.
Yeah, this was a good one. I mean, this was definitely a good one. And it isn't so much the fact that they won by such a dominant fashion. It's just the way they went about their business, the blueprint for ball movement, the blueprint for playing defense, rotating, attacking, not settling for jump shots, looking for the best shot and not just the first wide open shot. A lot of the little things that you feel they take shortcuts and go away from and go around. They kind of stuck to that a little bit more longer than they normally do, and this is what happens. You beat the crap out of a team.
Here's my concern, and I've been saying this all week. You don't want to fall in love with the 3, and there was a danger of that happening here into the second half, and they kept hitting them, which was good. But I do tend to think that the 3-point total are a little too high. I did look into, so they shoot around the league average in terms of threes, around 35 a game. When they tick over that, they win more games than they lose, and when they tick under that, they lose more games than they win. It's pretty close. There's not a real strong statement there in that stat about whether they should shoot more threes or less threes. But just from how I look at it, sometimes I think this team shoots a bit too many threes. And it's clear in the numbers.
I think most of the time.
But I mean, the numbers tell you the opposite. They tell you they're better when they shoot more. And the eye test would tell you shoot less, right? And I guess it's not the case.
There's no strong indication there. It's about a 2-win difference, but they don't shoot enough at the basket. I think that's clear. They're still bottom 10 in terms of shots at the rim. They don't get there a ton. There's not.
That's the bigger issue.
Yeah. So that's what you're missing.
It's not the threes; it's the contested twos, and it's also their inefficiency at the rim. Where
they're efficient at the rim. They just don't go there a lot.
But like Tatum has not been as much. I know Marcus is not particularly good. Jalen is, Schroeder is. Rob obviously shoots 100%. So like you have guys there who are, when they're getting looks at the rim. I mean, half of those are Rob dunks essentially. But yes, they're. A lot of it comes down to a lot of it's a contested twos and the long twos, and they do take a lot of those as well.
Yeah, it's just a sheer numbers thing. How many looks are you getting there every single night? And we know Rob doesn't get the ball enough at all. Brown sometimes doesn't, and I thought Brown was pretty rough in this one.
Bobby, you do have a crazy echo going. I don't know.
Yeah, I got Josue here without his mute button, but yeah, essentially, like you just don't have enough assertiveness going downhill on this, and that's what Ime talks a lot about. Playing the right way means getting downhill and getting the ball out to the perimeter for second level drives or even those threes. So overall, I think that's another thing that Jimmy asked earlier. What could this team use more of? Just any way to get looks at the rim, and I don't necessarily know what that is in terms of personnel or mindset or calls. But they don't do it enough, and that's been a constant all year in my mind. And Horford, you could start to put him down there more, right? I know he hasn't been super efficient, but part of me thinks they're misusing Horford a little bit.
Horford needs to play the 5 only. The couple of things I wanted to talk about this game. You had your first night with the whole lineup, and again, everything is going to be skewed because Jason Tatum shot the crap out of the ball today, and nothing really else matters. So you can't really assess much else in the game because it was the Jason Tatum scored 50 game. He was unstoppable, and that was that. And that's really everything tonight. But you had your full lineup tonight, and Ime still went to double big, and I know it was moderately successful, but I don't believe, based on everything we've seen this year, it is a recipe for long-term success, and I just don't know that you're ever going to get off of it, and I don't understand it. I do think you've really just got to split the center minutes between Rob and Al, and that's it. They should not be on the court together. I thought you had good things going with Grant and Romeo playing minutes last time. Romeo was just sent into purgatory again, coming off one of his better games. I know Grant got his minutes in, but I just don't get. It just seems like it seems like Ime is gonna do the same thing. He's just gonna, okay, I've got my team now. I'm gonna go with my double big lineup. I'm gonna play a short rotation, and that's it. Grant, Richardson, and Schroeder. That was it. I mean, that's what it's gonna be from now on. Is that it? So we're done. We're done with the kids thing. We're done mixing and there's not gonna be mixing and matching of the lineups. That's what it's gonna be. Is that where we are?
Well, if not, John, I mean, I think that we're at that point soon, right? I mean, by All-Star break, post-All-Star break, you should know what your rotation is. Like, this is sort of like deja vu. We were talking about Brad Stevens around that certain time of the year, right? Where it's just like, I think he's found his rotation. Like, you're supposed to figure that out before All-Star.
No NS.
All-Star break, And now that everyone's available, I think it makes things a bit easier for him. Knock on wood that nothing happens between now and the All-Star break and no one gets hurt. I mean, outside of Bobo and Dozier, everyone was available today. So I think that's a big part of it, honestly. But no, to what you guys saying earlier about Al Horford and what Bobby was saying about getting him more looks in the paint, I would like to see a little bit of that. I think he has favorable matchups when his back is towards the basket, but I also don't think it fits Ime's system, his style. I think you could carve out little pockets of doing it, but you can't do that on the reg. I mean, I don't think that's what his offense dictates, at the end of the day. It's that 3-point shot that they like most about it. And when that wasn't falling, that's when he's exposed, so to speak, right? People are like, well, wait a minute. What's Al doing out there? Because he's not making those threes.
It comes down to...
It's tough to be productive on offense outside of his passing.
But Josue, it comes down to math sometimes and just simply a matter of, the personnel. There was one maybe it was to start the fourth. There was one lineup in there that was double big Schroeder, Richardson, and Brown. That's an awful friggin' lineup. It's an awful lineup. Okay. There's just not shooting. There's no spacing there at all. There's not people who are looking to distribute. Like, that lineup should never be on the court together.
Here's the thing about
I don't understand that lineup. Like, I don't understand ever using it. Okay. It makes no sense. So again, you almost have to look at it like, old school. This is going to date, a bunch of people, but old school Nintendo hockey, you had like the skinny guys, the middle guys, and the fat guys, and you had to come up with your perfect roster, and some guys could shoot, some guys could skate fast. At this point, shouldn't look at it as people. It should be, I've got a point guard, and I've got some floor spacers, and that's what it's got to be. Whoever those people are, that's the lineup you should strive for.
Let's talk about what the one thing should be, because people say, "Oh, the lineups are all screwed up," and this and that. There's not a lot to it. It's basically just Horford and Grant. You got Horford who can't hit threes right now, and you got Grant who can, and that's the trade-off that they need to establish there. There's not this whole flock of talent on the bench that they're not.
There's not, but that's why you have to find your Romeo minutes. I know Grant's getting them. Like, I believe you have to look for these opportunities to get them in there. I just thought it was weird. It was a little bit of a bummer that it went to this and done. This rotate. We're back to the double bigs. We're back to the short bench, and that's my team.
What up, G?
Gary Washburn.
Hey, Gary Washburn.
What up,
Make
Gary?
a cameo appearance.
Yeah, we want Gary on the show.
What up,
Gary
G?
just wants to put his big head in the screen. That's all he cares about. He just wants some FaceTime. That's all Gary cares about is FaceTime. I know that, right? That's all he cares about. He got his 12 seconds. He's good.
He's good. Yeah,
tell him I'll send him a check for this one. It counts as an appearance, okay?
Hey, Gary, you're getting a check. You're getting a check for that little 8 seconds. You know that, right?
8 seconds cameo. Nah, he's gonna get 10 seconds now. He's gonna come back and tell him that.
It's in the union contract. So yeah.
Wait, Sherrod, ask him if he works for the Sixers or the Celtics.
Hey, Gary, Jimmy Toscano has a question. Do you work for the Sixers or the Celtics? I'm not going to repeat his response, but Jimmy, I'll tell you what it is off camera. Say that away. Ooh. Hey, Jimmy, he said if you take Gino off your Twitter, he might actually acknowledge you.
Oh, ouch.
You got Gino on your Twitter still, Jimmy?
No, it's been off for a long time. Gary's got to check out the timeline. He's got to check out the profile.
Damn, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Jimmy's deleting it right now as we speak.
That's like circa
Ray
Allen.
No, maybe on Gary's AOL account.
Yeah, right.
We need to get him on here.
Oh man, I'm dying to.
Era.
Get him into the rotation.
Anyway, I just want hold on real quick. I just want the next time you have him on for just one time to hear that one message just fire off. Go, you got mail. I will lose. Yeah. That would be so perfect.
So, guys, we do want to wrap it. It's been an hour. It's Sunday. We'll let you guys go watch. We're Bills fans the rest of the way. I'm just gonna say that I'm a Bills fan. But now that Brady's gone,
we all get a lot of teams in here.
Yeah. So Tatum, good. We'll see if it changes. Ime feels like this is what it's going to be. So a bit of a bummer, but again, I don't know. Trade deadline now, a couple weeks, a little bit over 2 weeks. This could be one of those situations where people move and it forces new people to play. So we don't exactly know how it's going to shake out. It really is interesting because of the one-on, one-off aspect here. We're not going to do another whole 30 more minutes about trade, not trade. We'll just be happy that Jason Tatum had a great game. Hope that it's the same.
Hey, the Kings are here Tuesday. We'll have 30 minutes of that.
And then we got the Kings, which is like, give me that guy, give me that guy, give me that guy, give me that guy.
Yeah.
You know,
there's a tryout right here.
so that should be fun. We'll talk about more of that there, guys. Anything
Christian's before we return to Boston?
Yeah. Anything before we put a bow on it?
Let's wrap it.
Wrap it. That's it. We don't need final thoughts. Sorry for condolences to Jimmy Toscano. It's going to be tough. In lieu of flowers,
we'll be back.
Send what would you like, Jimmy?
I just want positive thoughts. That's all I asked for.
In lieu of flowers, subscribe. I want you guys to support our sponsors, okay?
Yeah.
I want you to go to com.com. I want you to go to LinkedIn. Let me find our LinkedIn graphic.
LinkedIn.com/garden, I think, for your first free job posting. Right?
Wow.
Oh, 40% off.
He's never sounded this happy.
That's calm. Okay. I'm getting my things. Yeah, so calm.com, 40% off. I need calm.com like I need air to breathe tonight. I'm going to be firing that up as soon as the show ends. 40% off if anyone's interested. And then it's the #1 sleep app, meditation app. I'm going to be meditating for the next 6 hours. That's the only way I'm going to get ready for this week coming up. And then we've also got linkedin.com/garden, I think, unless I made that up.
I'll bring it up there
for a free job posting, free first job posting. You don't even need to have your own company. Just go hire somebody. Somebody. It's free. Just go.
There's that thing.
Just go toss the ad out there. All your friends will be like, "Wow, he's doing pretty well. He's got his own company." No, you don't. You can hire somebody for free. So who cares?
Jimmy, go get you some calm, bro. Go get some calm.
LinkedIn.com/garden. There's 700 million people use this for jobs.
I'll tell you what.
That
the Tampa Bay Bucks might need to use it for a new defensive coordinator.
Jimmy, what have I told you about manhandling the microphone?
Jimmy sounds like the guy from the commercial that plays during daytime television. When he's trying to tell you to go back to school. Get off the couch and do it now. Come on.
I don't want to see Todd Bowles in a
That's what you sound like right now.
polo shirt next year. I'll tell you that.
Just post the job.
All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you for watching. Thanks to the guys out in D.C. for their awesome coverage, as always. We're back on Tuesday night, Kings from the Garden. So we will.
That's going to be a fun one.
See you guys there. Again, support our sponsors. Don't send flowers to Jimmy Toscano. He's going to be all right, okay?
In lieu of flowers, support our sponsors.
Support our sponsors. Good night, everybody.
Send them
what? I haven't logged off yet.
I was going to say, send